Don't get me wrong.
Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies.
No.
Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails.
Trump could weaponize the DOJ and FBI against a political opponent that isn't America. That is literally America right now, and Trump isn't the president. That is exactly what you're doing.
On that point, Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Let us investigate.
Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
He wasn't even talking about him doing the bloodbath. He's talking about the bloodbath that's going to happen to America. And the Democrats are like, we're going to use that and push it to everybody because he used the word bloodbath to all the good people we want to bring. But if we look at Kamala Harris, I mean, San Francisco is kind of like a failed state. California is going in the direction of a failed state that tax everybody like crazy. She's vice president. She's supposed to do things and she didn't do that. And now you want me to give her a fourth try, my bad.
What in the hell is this? The chairman tweets, protect our ducks and kittens in Ohio because he goes down some crazy rabbit hole, completely debunked that aliens are eating pets.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
You know, the breaking news is Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025. Sure, a lot of us have worked in the admin and came together, but this started long before he even announced for president.
And I'm sure they're going to respond. Everybody can just create a clip and respond. And I'm like, cool, but I can also say that about you, right?
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Under the government Tim Walz, baby born alive in the botched deletion were left to be deleted. Then he removed reporting requirements.
And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor.
Of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So
the fact that no state is supporting this is already a lie. It's already a lie. No fact check though.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
The Great Depression is happening because you're sending so much money away to Israel, Ukraine, and all those places. So I'm not surprised inflation is raising up under your freaking administration. And the healthcare situation, well, you're helping so many undocumented with free healthcare. The infrastructure ain't ready. So if you don't have money to help so many uninvited people, I'm not really surprised. And the government, there is no democracy. You're the one advocating that nobody can speak on X. You don't want two opinions, you want to silence one, right? So actually you're the one going against democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. what they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals. Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with me.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formally worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic.
Why does that name ring a bell?
Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, so I guess somebody that lied about weapons of mass destruction is the perfect candidate that's going to support you, but you don't share values.
Pretty smart, dude.
The Haitians, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of them are literally like going to parks, you know, how we feed the ducks or whatever. They are taking ducks and cutting their heads off and taking them home to eat them.
There's so many videos talking about this, but those are fake. But if somebody sells anything from the other side, that's a hate crime. They went after me, they didn't use the pronoun. Those we have to believe.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
But no, we only believe the statistic of the biggest news channel. Cool.
Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
And before you tell me also you want people to keep the baby and suffer, well, we should have certain things so we can give the babies away. Everybody wants to adopt the baby. There's so many things we can do to help the baby. A lot of things. You don't have to stretch your body. We can do a cesarean section to remove the baby early. There are options other than deletion.
Migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice President Harris,
the FBI...
Of course it's going down if you don't report it. I mean, it has been proven that you don't report it because you don't want the statistics to look in a specific way. Or even if you arrest the people, you arrest brown people as white people. We are not that stupid. I mean, we were, but people are waking up.
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
Wait a second. Didn't you actually support BLM in the most unique way through judges and getting funding? You did.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of.
I am speaking.
And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it
and said
they
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing.
One of those cases, the Funky case, oh my God. Look what the lady said about the whole situation.
Did not last long, and that's why I don't use the word you just used. I use the word fight.
You don't use the word
Funky.
Sexual violence is in every country, in every strata of society, and I just feel that so many women are undergoing
Funky.
Mine was short. I got out. I'm happy now. I'm moving on. And I think of all the women who are enduring constant
Funky.
So this one instant, this one, 3 minutes in this little dressing room, I just say it's a fight. That way I'm not the victim.
Feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. Which, the word rape,
Funky.
so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
Well, I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of
Funky.
Sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
They blame her Funky, but they weren't allowed to use the clip how she described the whole thing because it discredits the fact that she said he did Funky, but I don't really mean it, but the people that want to use it to charge him are gonna mean it.
There was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
They lie. They take a clip, they cut it short, and throw it totally in the wrong direction.
But there's no one better capable of trying to organize this.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and for having the confidence in me. And there's no question that this is a challenging situation. As the President has said, there are many factors that lead President to leave these countries. And while we are clear that people should not come to the border now, we also understand that we will enforce the law, and that we also, because we can chew gum and walk at the same time, must address the root causes that cause people to make the trek, as the President has described, to come here.
Neglecting us and giving to them, people that they don't know who they are. I asked them, is there any type of vetting process for them to come over here from Texas to Chicago? They told me no. When I said this to Alderman Vasquez, he lied to my face, and he told me that they are being vetted. When I asked them, they said they're not being vetted. They said no names have been taken, they just got put on a bus and shipped over here. That's why there's gangs over here now. This is why there's gangs roaming the streets. I asked them, is there any type of regulation? Is there any type of police oversight or curfew? They told me no. This is why they're able to do whatever they want to do. Break into stores, vandalize, break into cars, run people over with cars that they steal from people, children. These people come from countries that traffic in drugs and children that our government is subsidizing, while they're telling us that we need to be sympathetic to them.
It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
And before you tell me, well, it's an administration, they didn't really make the decision.
Biden always said that he wants you to be the last person in the room, particularly for big decisions, just as he was for President Obama. He just made a really big decision. Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes. And you feel comfortable?
I do.
Said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed.
It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator in the room. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this: I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him
Yes.
Tell him what I said. Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room. Do you know for 18 months not a single American was killed in Afghanistan? That's the definition of strength. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't think Kamala Harris exudes that energy. She exudes happiness and Brad energy.
People say vibes don't matter, but we are manifesting our nation.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
They're manifesting, all right.
I'm speaking. And I'm a woman.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time.
You can always tell how stupid Kamala thinks you are by the accent she's using.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. None of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass.
How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed. Those people are killing many people, unlike J6.
But why would she block that? Who is going to block their own voters?
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush, hash purple skunk, criollo colombici jam jam, durloqueta verdeta welcome.